Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this evening's zoning board of appeals. Monday, May 18th, 2026. We have 11 requests on the agenda this evening. So we'll get to it. For being present. What's that? Yes. 6 yes. On the requests. For being present, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from April meeting. Second. Steve, second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. So we'll start with full business. Application AD 26 00002. It's working with Once Falls, major. Eric Samlow from SRA Engineers, engineer for the applicant. Sorry, said we tabled a couple times. It took a little while for the landmarks to make sure that we're on the same page on the application. So basically, this is for a building addition. The Romeo Toyota, formerly known as Once Falls, Drive Street. The purpose of the addition is for a standard service department. They'd like to get more vehicle repair through the building. And it is a 29-foot extension or expansion to the east towards Robinson Street. That's designed to match right up onto the building setback for that setback. The reason that we're before you today, though, is that the existing site has a coverage of 89%, and regulations limit coverage to 60%. So right off the bat, it's not a conforming site. And due to the expansion, that does need to stand a small amount, to 90.3%. At the beginning of this project, our client charged us without losing any parking spaces as well. That wasn't really possible. So there will be the loss of 6 parking spaces. So we're keeping that down to the absolute minimum if possible. The stormwater site is currently managed with underground dry wells. So really none of the stormwater that's generated on site leaves the site. It is already back in some surface. What going forward, that's supposed to stay the same. There's an existing dry well on the east side of the house. The building is going to need to be removed to accommodate the building. And so we've ensured that the replacement structure can handle the stormwater from that side of the building, the new roof, the existing pavement that's around there, and a small amount of additional pavement that's proposed on that side of the site. The other work that is proposed, it's kind of unusual. There's when the building was first constructed, it was built right on stormwater pipe that passes through the site. That pipe does not receive any stormwater from the site. It comes from the neighborhood to the north, passes under the site across Broad Street, eventually makes its way down to the Beacon Canal. Back 10 to 12 years ago, there was another addition built on this building. And at that point, that addition was corrected. Storm pipe was diverted on the building. Problem is they had to move it again for this addition. So we met with the city engineer and the superintendent of water and sewer, and we've come up with a concept plan that they're okay with. We'll get down into the weeds after getting through the various approval process. We're making sure it's a viable project, but we've definitely done the preliminary coordination in order to make sure that can't be done. And I actually just, our initial application didn't identify the concept for that. I did email to Allison. Oh, sorry. Allison. Yes. Nice to meet you. The plan that we have since developed for that. And it really is just, it's just going to be diverting that pipeline. The addition is proposed. Uh, it's pretty basic. I think that's kind of my intro. I think I have certain questions. Whatever you want. One question, what is the net loss creating as far as solar, that's, is it that one dry well, one area, I'll make sure I understand that. Okay, so the existing drywall that's there is gonna need to be removed, we're gonna replace it with one right in that same vicinity. It's gonna receive all the same stormwater that the old one currently receives, and it'll also receive any additional stormwater from the small amount of additional pavements that is proposed to just to be able to sweep out a few parking spaces. Sort of looking at laws correctly. Yeah, there'll be still no stormwater running off the site as soil. It'll be infiltrated. Yeah. Yeah, without that support to make the fact that the site is totally. It is. Yeah, I just want to clarify. I know you're asking more. Possibility very 30.3%, but the actual variance is going up to 1.2% difference for what's actually there. Sounded okay. That's all I have. Maybe it's all the board has for you. Take a public comment. Is there anybody from the public which can comment on this application? Okay. So, this is a to donation ought to be required. One that will be granted area must consider following. With there being an undesirable change in the members of the board that remain to their properties in the rated by building rates, you know, and the benefits by the applicant be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than variance. They've done a thorough job exploring their options. Is the last variance substantial? Technically, yes, but given the existing state of the property, I would say no. Will variance have an adverse effect on physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood? No. Was the alleged difficulty still created? Technically, yes, but while this is to be considered, it shall not necessarily include the granting of the variance. Given the answers to the previous considerations here, I'd like to make a motion to grant the zoning variance in favor of the applicant. Go ahead, second. Second. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Project two. This is 80.6-005. Area variance for 146 Maple Street. Applicant is Kelly Phillips and being represented by that. Good evening. Welcome back. Thank you. So if you don't mind, just explain to us what variance you were seeking.
Yeah, first, thank you for issuing previous variance. I was there. I apologize for this need for this. Usually you're not getting. So thank you very much for seeking super reminder. The reminder, we are adding two building two units from the zoning perspective for adding units and support 12 units. 6 parking spaces, and we don't have 5 parking spaces. Variance for 1 parking, and it's a reminder this building also planning details and how it lays out. The stuff that that on these so that's why I'm here this evening. Does the board have any questions? One of us after.
After the public
Public
comment.
comment. Listen to it. This is my mention.
Business administration.
Yes, definitely.
Or. Then, different. Is there anybody on the public who wishes to speak or comment on 146 Main Street? Okay, not anybody who wishes to comment. So, again, back to what we must consider in that window, I'll skip, second, we have to do, secret, because it's an unlisted action. So I'm going to take a break. City attorney.
I would say we just need a motion to reaffirm your prior negative declarations. We did do the secret determination on other variances. I think we just wrap it in to that prior determination if you reaffirm.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to reaffirm previous determination. Second. Yeah, second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right, now on to the variance. We must consider the following. Will there be an undesirable change to the character of neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties being created by granting of the area? You know, can the benefits of an applicant be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the variance? It is, we had a substantial discussion about that last meeting. That ultimately this would be most feasible that board. Is that very substantial, given character of the neighborhood, what they're asking to do. So, what the proposed variance on adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. No, what's the difficulty self-created? While yes, it's self-created because they are to alter the property. This is not board specific. That from Brandon. Given the answers to the previous considerations we just went through, I'd like to make a motion to grant the main variance request to the applicant. Do I have a second? Second. Yeah, second. All my favor? Aye. Motion carries. Adam? So, now we have 80 feet 26 at 000 area there. It's 31 Main Street. Applicants. Yeah. And Lisa Brennan. Yeah. Say your name. Give us a brief.
Sure, if you speak up, we might.
Yes, my sorry.
Large, the back of the house, again, requiring 2 bedroom, 2 bath. One of the bedrooms downstairs a little bigger. Want to square off with entrance way right now to the edge of the building, to the front porch. Change the roofing on the side, it looks like this way out, the window, snow, and wall. So they'll look great from.
So, just to give a little bit of technical outline. Was to allow the 20-foot extension rear yard step back where 25 feet is required. So the actual looking inside is 4 feet 4 inches. 26 -0.006 second west would allow a 12-foot 6-inch front yard setback where 20 feet is required. Expanded with the existing non-conforming setback. Oh, so here is 70 foot 6 inches. Your west here is to allow a 1 foot 9 inch side yard setback where 15 inches is required. expansion of the existing non-conformity of that. Totally. Okay. Since I like it, so, but, so. So, 14 branches. 26 dash 0006. Fourth, series allowed 56.3% locked for 35% below, which is, in total, there's 31.3%.
I will know that is part of this thing, that's this addition is going over a week here. So. Yeah.
That is very, very much. Does the board have any questions for you?
So, I see that extended. And did you consider about not having such a small, that's how we do it. All different rooms, just standing at the same, so it's it makes your service, your maintenance of the building challenging, your fighting, your property. It's actually very busy, actually, right now, we're going to say, just continue to work. When they said it a little bit, they what did it originally, very clever, said it up and slow, and down. Fine. Okay. That's all I have.
Any other questions?
I'm not a water. And the,
Well, it's there.
water.
Well, right now, right at the side entrance. Well, right back to where it snow, what we move right into the water is the safe of the sun. So I'm gonna get the roof now, you know, the lower my foot, so when you miss a walk, no snow is not controlled. I'm not gonna change the side edge of the side edge.
That's actually.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to, also just clarify the record here, we have these, measurement being sought here. To know there is required. Side rear yard setbacks, the person who requested it was done, also, I have a lot of these homes. Well, before some of the requirements. And the proposed, the existing, they are the same in the sense of everything more, you know, so whereas it might appear on paper significantly, is our. Okay. And does anybody from the public wishing to speak or have a comment on this application? Speaking, vote to speak for that's number two, no additional be required. And so we'll jump to, our code here that we evaluate any variance request. Will there be an undesirable change to the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties? Well, we've done, very gradual, will there be an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties? Better granted with this variance? No. Actually, very nice, updated all.
Again, this up by everything we achieved by some method people, we have to pursue up in variance. You gotta make that, they have a home, them things. They want to see done to it. Great, that's great. If the request is substantial, well, technically, yes, like you stated previously, in reality, it's not. Will variance have an adverse effect on the code of violation issue. Was the alleged difficulty self-agreed? Yes, technically, but again, it shall not be so including granting of the variance. Given the answers to these questions, I would like to make a motion to grant the zoning variance request for this application. Do I have a second? The second, sorry, have a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you for coming. Have a good evening. Number 4. Project AAP 26-007. So we're looking at everything that was from maximum lot coverage at 8 per acre. The applicant needs of the land approach. Good evening, I have already gone ahead. My case for us on the variance, my property for driveway to myself and for some of that no board should be aware. Not generally. These violations. Just not more. Yeah, they were this all came about like maybe most of the program because of Jeff Flag. I was approved for it. And they looked at the property, they saw everything. I didn't do it malicious there and then was trying to approve my property and had enough for 2 years, 1,000 property, 25 years old now, duplex. And the upstairs is gonna be trying to be it too, because I've been approved for the Baker Russell grant. And all this new about, I'm trying to mitigate that the best I can, be the best. Live on there. These violations that you're working, sitting to make sure everything being resolved. Yes. Fine, but you can see that's the first step of it. That sounds like
Yes, this is, we need to see about remedying the violations on this property, this is the path to one things.
the yeah, that lot coverage remedy, and you know, one of the properties is we're building for, yeah, this one different, so we're looking for 13.2% would be from 35% to 48.2%. Does the board have any questions for you?
Yeah, so you can sell 2 driveways at the house.
Nothing was stated there. I'm not sure there's a typo, I guess. I'm not sure what they're choosing to drive because of the county. What was there before was gravel, but there's nothing paid there before. And I paid them in June of 2024, about February 24. So one of the improvements I was trying to do, solve everything away from the house. So I think that's on the water basement too as well. For like close house and what's involved. And I just took the property as well, as that was my vote behind it. I never even realized that the permitting process or occupancy, and I apologize for that. I was not aware at the time, so you all want.
Both are paved.
Yes.
I guess I'm not sure if you're doing that sure. Were the driveways there before with gravel or no, not allowed, neither one is there?
the right side, I guess was around, I mean, nothing really was developed in any like professional way, it was just kind of driven on, you know. Like dirt. Loading down on the right side.
So if they back off, let's into, which is about water. So you're saying we put the asphalt. And that helps. Take water away from your property, so you don't have issues on your property, you're saying.
That's not my specific reason, I think that,
Yeah, but that's the result.
I don't have a professional study on that, but
Oh, that's what you're saying.
yes, I mean, it's not, I'm not sure anything, I'm just saying that it's live on.
So my question, if the next setback, is that water is going to your neighbors, as you said, eventually?
No, it's not good, it was all on.
So where does the water go?
And it just signs like massive, there's no crazy runoff or anything like that. I mean, the water comes directly out the roof on the side, like, on both sides. There's no excessive runoff.
From the driveway, not from the
Yeah.
front.
Yes, it's inside.
Right. So when the water comes off the house, onto the driveway, which is on purpose. It's not slowed over, not simply asphalt driveway, it's to the edge of the property.
It was, yes. It was.
But it goes to the edge of the property.
Yeah,
It's plus or minus.
yeah, yes.
So then it's still in water. That's one of my concerns in general. Because if there's a lot of water that goes to that, you can then possibly.
No, I understand the frustration, but since it's been not practiced, since it's happened, everything, no excess water anywhere, I don't know, plants and anything, it's not like it's raining or anything like that.
And how long is it again? How long since it's been installed? So now, how
It was June 2024, so now.
what's the almost 2 years?
Yes.
And there's been no complaints from you.
Nope, not at all.
How far from your property to your neighbor's house? Approximately.
It's what, like, this is about,
It's probably like
13 on one side, about 17 again, so. You get a
neighbors. Those are usually my biggest concerns with increasing impervious in general. That's usually like one of my biggest concerns. How some of these situations can be excellent.
No, I understand.
And if I'm reading correctly, for your petition to maintain the absolute, not to be impervious.
Yeah, no, I'm not, just gonna change it. So,
You don't have a neighbor on one side. One side of your driveway is commercial, right?
yeah, it's a security supply.
So that runoff runs into their driveway, but if it were to run off, it would.
I mean, hypothetically, yes, like, you can see that.
But to clarify for the board, there's not a residential neighbor on one side of the driveway.
Enough said, that's right.
And that is an additional driveway, commercial driveway into that building next to that driveway.
Yeah, that existing, yeah.
If you don't get water from them to you.
No, I don't have any water shooting.
And for the record, that is theoretical. Current cost of that water. The south based on. We made significant financial investment.
Yeah, I mean, given the fact that 2 years I've been there, I put $35,000 into the property. And I, at the this program, I fully committed to providing affordable housing and the other department is going to provide some caps versus food with the priority. That's the median income of 52,000, whatever the signature that is, and the median we got for the rent too as well. So I'm really just trying to provide this everything to get the house done. Big elevations.
And you have stated, which is back up by this, by house, that you are getting right on the code violation.
Yes, yeah.
That's good. Okay. Any other questions for?
Are your two spots provided on, or is it one spot provided?
No, there's full option for both sides.
So you have two on one side, two on the
Part of this whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you don't need one drive.
no, it's, I mean,
Oh, you're providing the drive, so you've got one, you know,
yes.
okay. Right, okay, but I don't know, that's good, it sounds like it's fortunate. Right. So, okay, just asking why not just keep one basic commercial property? Put that, it's not enough, you're keeping what part that provides the adequate required spots. Is it a factor that, we can see your cars or accounts, what that is?
No, that is, it's,
Oh, sorry, this way.
but I think given that having the off-street parking is such a commodity and a huge need, well, that's why I did that to parking has proven and has advantage for constant tenants to us.
I'm trying to say, I know you put money in, sensitive to that, but kind of say, why not keep it one, which is next to the asphalt, and then come back for, it's 40, it's needed for, that's, I'm going to do it, and go with it, you got it out there. So,
Yeah, I mean,
and you're not wrong.
it seems like I'm not saying it's a lot. But I understand. The viewpoint, dollars, but
And the second unit that's not occupied yet, that's part of the city program.
yeah, for it, to Jeff Flag.
Okay.
But this is voting everything out.
And that, the shed in the Solomon backyard was part of the violations. You voluntarily removed that.
I am not, no, I am, no, I'm not. This is my first step, to get this.
This rather, the sheds were removed to accommodate that. No,
Now it's,
to addition.
It says that the building previously.
Yeah, so essentially it was a structure built on building. That was the politicians.
You made a copy back.
He was approved for the property plan,
Okay,
but did not get building permits for that structure.
okay. So what is it for that getting over the threshold for maximum outcome? Would that company
I
that
think so. That would be for
no, not like. Not like that. So would that, if it was not with this, would the property pad be over the threshold?
Just one right.
Yeah.
you know what, tell you what, more is needed for. Usually. But he's considering that, let's just put the paper up and it might, what if the, that's very good. Side. that. I forget, it's called, yeah, I forget this. Not, just have to go aside, go aside. Well. It's, back in the trouble. No, it's now.
Yeah. Yes. That's okay.
You said that they skating. Been there all 2 years.
Yes.
That's right. No, place when they that would be that. Commercial. But property next to it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was even an extra of a baby there that wasn't paid, what had it, so like we were trying over, it wasn't mine. That's then if I could pay that, so it all. Yeah, that was.
Is there a street line?
What for is it?
The sort of. Fence. That's yeah.
To me, she's gone. It's no impact. What's being used for profit, even she get a permit for 100%, obviously. But it has nothing to do, whether it's just concrete pad, whether it's shed on top of the concrete pad, no effect on land use or convertibility, right? Of that nature, right? This is totally different. The shed to me, that's a big issue. Let's describe it as
Yeah, it's.
so, oh, it's separate, all the time, space. For a couple of minutes. Yeah.
This board have any other questions?
Seems to be there's a lot of something. So, just don't talk about it. Or it seems like pretty much in a big way, but there it is. It's not like you're slight addition over it. It's a little bit addition over. It's drastic change, like you're already all hurt. That's everything else. Not quite. They said a little bit. Small,
Absolutely. There's other properties. You've seen about this board. And advanced.
Yeah.
And it is by a vote board, which is the city has a part, you get to make where those issues better. Given the program that is developed in 2004, you bear in mind that not compliance, of course, something current office. For the mind, it's not Regis expansion of impervious coverage. So maybe to upgrade that wonderful. That's what does the board have any other questions? They've seen when I went public on it. Does the public have any comments or questions on this variance? One.
We did before you were funding to the mall, so since you all are picture, 119 Hunter Street, Redmond Street from where the gate splits. They're very. Sorry, since they moved in last 2 years, so that would be including that property. There's always been 2 driveways there. 2 lanes, So you enter the house, essentially in the park. So the one that's closest to the spot would be security supply. Has been everything from crushed concrete to gravel to crushed stone. That constantly being tracked out. Cover them out, trying to. So since he has paid this, we can stop. State really good care of the property, because your question about stormwater, going up or down, it's higher. So it's kind of like that question. So when water comes off the roof, it's that's something. Like it's something else. Look at source back, it's fine. Security supply. We have. They don't want it.
They think, yeah.
Right, that was public comment on the West Surrounding Barn to Barn evaluation. What are not to grass, is from the west. Will there be undesirable change of character neighborhood for it, and to nearby properties, by granting certain zones? Again, none of the sub, I think, but some that feasible for the applicant to pursue other than variance. Very great discussion, does not appear to be feasible as for another option. Is the requested variance substantial? With variance, matters, or impact on this from the conditions of the neighborhood. Was the alleged difficulty celebrated? Yes. Here's some of these issues, and again, why it's subgraded shall not necessarily include the granting of the area variance. Given the answers to these questions, I'd like to make a motion to grant the zoning variance to the applicant. Do I have a second? Second. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Variance is granted. Thank you. AB 26-008, area variance request for 774 Andrews Road. John and Court, represented by. So that's your. We need the camera to see it. If you're at, okay. Did you see that over there? I think if somebody wants to see it, there's probably on public record here, public access, so it's not. All right, I'm gonna leave it over there.
Good evening for your all principal agency picture. It's appeared that I represented Janet Portis at 77 and 40 Bertram. What they're looking to do. They're looking to put an addition on the house so that they're an old child can move back a little bit. Currently it is 3-bedroom home. This is the outline of the house here. This is a little bit unique situation in that Queensbury town line, Queensbury and city town line bisect the property. And our setbacks, rather than being taken from the actual property, taken from the town and city line. And it's the city and town line in place on 40 Birch Road where it should be set in the middle of the property. So the front property line is up here on 40 acres, and the city line is very happy. And I eventually something out in front of the house. Our actual 25-foot setback line from the property line is meeting. But when you take the 25-foot setback from the city town line, we're too close. But actually, this is a point too close. So, in addition, we're looking for out front. That's the need for that. The the side yard property line where the house is set, it's already in violation and we're expanding that, so it's the same expansion of a pre-existing structure. And that, the other variance is lot coverage, and it's because we're going out front, and taking the town property, adding front because it's not. So those.
It's very,
At least it doesn't bisect the house. Had those before where it's not even bisect through the house. I think it's really difficult. Support it.
that exploring.
We did, not really, it doesn't really lend itself to going up its ranch and pretty much the houses in that area. Our ranch is so going up just that little bit of space, and it really didn't really work. So we were like going up, but I guess the way the house lays out and the fact that with this front room right here, it's in bedroom that we're going up. It's over the house and consumers. That's important house. This room in the back, so match it up with the house, the match of that. This is the stairs goes down to the basement. This is the bedroom in question, it's existing bedroom. This is the bathroom, another existing bedroom slash office. Here, this is the front porch of the house. So what we're trying to provide is a space for a group that's his own space that's still attached to the house. It's not really, because it's technically still attached to the house.
But like,
But it's his own space where he can be private, away from the rest of it.
it's not kitchen, it's not.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, not the neighbor.
No, no, no. The front, so so it's, this area here is all grass. Roof right now, fishes front and back, ridge line runs here, so all is water from the front. Our ridge line is going to go perpendicular to the road, so we'll catch that water and bring it down. Trenches along the side. And save it for.
So I understand.
The trench. So the deep trench, so the trench is where the water comes out, the deep struts into the deep trench, so it's in the ground.
So it's actually speaking or it's like, even if you read anything you would be adding to his purpose nature directly on water, it's taking impervious and putting it back. It's impervious area. It's not straight up rock.
It's not running out.
It is very close to the adjacent property line. It is, like, with the existing addition, there's just an extension of that one.
Definitely next one. So, to me, that's why it seems like he's maximizing the efficiency of the space rather than going a different direction. Or maybe that's what the space is providing. Absolutely.
So. This is the lots of very interesting. Do you know how much closer to this? That is, I think it's like it was solid closer. As you go down the street closer towards, one street, there's a couple of houses that have very similar cutouts, like this section go down the street. The two immediately on either side, pretty much line up in the front of the house we have. One's just a little bit ahead of the other, but this is the out in front of the whole thing.
And even the city line and the town line are not us, the straight line.
It's not
They-
straight. What do you,
They almost cut from the corner of the Bay Street Cemetery to over near North Road. So, it's just, it's negative. So some of them are as close as, they're at the point, so they're gonna be closer than anybody else.
as you get closer to Bay Street, there's actually a house that's right on the corner of Bay Street and 40 and Merchant. So the town city line does goes through.
Obviously.
So that's gonna be the direct thing when that decides to go to your right.
Order, I will not. Seeing none.
Is there anybody from the public who wishes to comment or question of the application? Seeing none.
Sorry.
What, yeah?
Following up, is it, when we accept the proposal as it's put out, is it a precursor or to that? I know we've done this in previous applications, that they put that trench. Is that part of what we could do, is that ensures that the water keep going? Yeah, I mean, we should, I know you intend it, so it's fine, we might as well just put that as a condition if it needs.
What was the question?
No, it's not really a condition, it's good in-house condition, question, but it was more like, it's a follow-up to what you guys are saying, and you're saying, stating about the intent of putting the trench, I want to approve it with that condition.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, that's, no problem.
How would you like that worded? How would you like that worded?
The approval is conditional upon acceptance that the trench drain is.
Each trenches are utilized to capture the roof runoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Okay. This is a type 2 secret. No additional review necessary. We will move on to granting these variance requests from our checklist. Should we go next there? Okay. Will there be an undesirable change to the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties by the granting of this area request? No. Can the benefits sought by the applicant be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than this variance? No, in fact, it seems that this individual is working with the property rather than against it, so to speak. Is the requested area variance substantial? No. Will the proposed variance have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood? No. Was the alleged difficulty self-created by the nature of the expansion of the home? Yes. But again, this is not necessarily going to preclude the granting of this area variance. Given the answers to the previous considerations we just went through, I'd like to make a motion conditional on the inclusion of eaves trenches being utilized to capture the roof runoff to grant the zoning variance request. Do I have a second? We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Variance granted.
Great, thank you very much.
Moving on to number 6, project 26-001. We have a use variance. Now, for the record, a use variance is different from an area variance in that we aren't just seeking to change some setbacks here. We're seeking to alter what the zoning will actually allow, will actually permit. So we actually do have to have a little bit more strict checklist to go through when evaluating a use variance. And we will go through that checklist at the appropriate time. So for 35 Cherry Street, the applicant is Gerald Blackbird, and it is currently in a zoning district R2. The proposal is to seek bringing an existing structure into compliance by requesting a use to allow a 3-unit dwelling in the R2 zoning district, to expand this non-conforming use and allow 4 units. Request would be to allow 3-unit residential structure where only 1 and 2 unit structures are allowed, and to expand the use to allow 4. Will the applicant please approach the podium?
Hello, I'm Joe Blackford, applying for the use of variance for 35 Cherry. I bought it as a 3-unit and then with the intention to come here to ask for 4, and then applying through the vacant rental program, I learned that it's only zoned for 2 units. So I'm here to see if the 4th unit is possible.
Can you walk us through, there's a pre-existing issue, but then you have outlined that you want to also make it from a 3 unit to a 4 unit.
Right, yeah, so I didn't realize that there was a pre-existing issue until after the purchase of the property.
Sure.
So, when I found that out, I have come here to remedy that. But I didn't want to come back and try to apply to get a grant for before.
Understood. So, just to be clear then, we do have a non-conforming issue, which is 117 thing here, but we also, you're looking to expand it from a 3-unit to a 4-unit.
I'd like to, yes.
Could you expand on what that would entail?
Right now, it's set up, the front apartment is single bedroom, and then back apartment is a single bedroom. And upstairs, they kind of have 2-bedroom that goes from the front to the back of the house with like a makeshift kind of staircase in the back that is really accessible from inside the house. And then another stairwell that they have built, I don't know, 2017, that expanded the front of the house to access from the outside. And so I'd like to get that staircase out and have the units be more individual so that it would fit the 4. It's pretty cut up already as far as, the 3 to 4 where they, from the front of the house to the back of the house upstairs, there's a door that goes into the back of the house, which has another basically full 1-bedroom apartment with its own bathroom, water access area, it's a laundry room right now. So the whole house needs to be renovated either way.
And on your journey with this property here, the use variance notwithstanding, everything else is to code. Can the city verify this? No violations, no.
Not that I know.
Does the board have any questions?
I guess I'd ask, because you attached it, you referenced it, go over the $2,800 a month operating costs in the listing.
Yeah, so there's a mortgage on the property.
Say it over.
There's a mortgage on the property. So the mortgage, the taxes, water taxes included, as well as, 10% or so repairs for the operating costs of once it's up and running.
And you're listing the 2 and the 3 family gross for $2,900, $3,600. Is that based on this chart that we're also seeing back here?
It's based on the rental development program.
Those costs, those rental amounts
Right.
are set and regulated.
Yes. They're probably a little higher this year than they were with that chart, since last year's chart.
I mean,
For
first,
example, minuscule amount, yeah.
but your set operating costs are a default from your mortgage whenever you set it up.
Mortgage taxes,
Yeah. Yep.
repairs,
What's that?
maintenance, more so than repairs.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So you essentially can't break even or the math we're looking at.
Yeah, exactly.
$100 a month.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not even dinner now.
right.
So,
Water meter goes, you know.
yeah,
that's-
you're done. Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's,
Now, is the, you mentioned here the vacant rental program of the city, that's how you have coming to this property. Now, is this agreement, walk us through it, does this require you to have 4 apartments?
No, it's not required to have 4, so with the program, it's up to 75,000 per unit rehab. So the 4th unit would help because I think rehab is gonna be excessive, as well. So, if it's a 3-unit, then they have it so you can get, up to 75,000 per unit, so, it would help with the rehab costs as well.
And you were unaware that this was a pre-existing non-conforming?
Yes, I was unaware, I thought it was a 3-unit, when I bought it. It's actually on the tax rolls as a 3-unit still, I put that in.
Really?
Mhm.
The assessor
Sorry,
is
back to
based on
3-unit.
use, not based on,
Yeah,
yeah, that's how I know.
it's so odd that there's no internal checks and balances with one system. Red flagging and the other.
That's why we're here.
No, I know, but I feel like when it comes to AI and intelligent cross-referencing of things, I can Google the most favorite Muppet, but I can't, but they don't all
Yeah.
integrate actual, real, that's bizarre. Not blaming you in any way, just feel like it's using the right things. And there's no issue with parking.
No, there's, plenty of parking, there's a driveway, and there's a shorter driveway on one side of the house, from the house on the right-hand side, that's got a parking spot, and, there's a shared driveway to the other side with at least, I would say 3 spots there. Around back, there's another 2 spots, and there's also a parking lot.
So for your property, how many dedicated spots do you have for your property?
1, 4, 5, 6, and then 2-car garage.
6 plus 2.
Probably. I mean, it's a driveway, so if they park one behind each other, it would definitely 3, 4.
You would have 4, which 1.5 would be 6.
Where is that? Do you don't know the parking number?
You're saying he's got 2-car garage.
Yeah, so there's also here.
And is that 2-car garage dedicated to your tenants?
It can be if needed, it's not, but it can be. I mean, I think there's plenty of parking without it.
Like by the zoning code, you need 6. It's an ancillary aspect of how many.
There's
units
6,
you have.
there's definitely 6.
And with the 4th unit, we're not looking to expand upward or outward.
No, we're not expanding anything.
So.
Interior retrofit.
Existing.
Yeah, exactly, closing the door.
Can you talk about the access, the vertical stair that you're talking about? I don't concern.
On the inside or on the outside?
All right, great. Okay. Are you talking about adding, similar to the property I looked before, but an exterior, like all access stair?
No, there's, so on the back side of the house, there's already a stairwell that goes upstairs. It was, put in, I don't know, 2017.
There's an exterior stair today
Exterior stair.
that services what would be all units, will, when you have a final layout?
It would,
will
no, it would service only one unit. Right now, it services the upstairs, so it services, it comes up from the back of the house.
Yep.
Exterior. And it services, you can get to the full upstairs.
Okay.
And then.
But that's because upstairs is only one unit. And when you renovate it, that would be 2 units.
Right, so in the
So
front
how
of the
does
house,
that new unit get out?
you come in the front door, and there's a staircase that goes up.
Okay.
And then.
Don't you need 2 means from every unit? So my question is about, I wasn't here for this one, I would have a question for that, I'm sorry I wasn't here for it. Is a concern of mine for, so we're looking at pieces of this, I'm trying to look at it more holistically. So I'm looking at it more from, okay, you have enough spots for it on your property, yes? Good, great. I'm looking at it from, you don't need it today, so you don't have it today. But when you have that upper unit split, that unit has to have a second unit. There's a fire in that fire stairwell, they're done.
Okay, I didn't,
And
I didn't realize that they needed two extra exit points on the second floor, I thought that was the third floor.
well, I think every unit needs 2 units when you have over,
Alex, I have a question for you.
yeah, 2 units.
What other review would he go through if this variance were granted for the 4?
You will need to come back for a density requirement relief, because in the R2, no multifamily dwelling shall be erected, altered, or used, which does not provide a lot area that is 2,500 square feet first floor area for each dwelling unit.
Which is going to be on
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Also, it's the,
Is there any site plan required? Site plan? I'm
well, I mean,
a
the
little
site's more on this table where we're standing,
Yeah.
but the density, occupancy, and all the other planning aspects of like how it's a firewall between them, that's not in our purview.
It's not really, except to the extent that if you were to consider adding a 4th unit, we want to make sure that that is viable.
That's what I'm
In
talking
order,
about.
yeah, I know, but we don't have any plans in front of us at this point.
Correct.
To this
So
point,
you could say this is
Even if it's-
contingent upon, and then they can come back for it.
well, I try to steer the boards away from doing contingencies when we don't have anything in front of us. We don't
You
have
wanna
a
table it?
concept of the units or a site, even a conceptual sketch plan of the site plan.
I would direct the board to please review the requirements of an area variance. We're talking about this in generalities, there are some very serious requirements. of area variance. We're looking at an existing non-conforming use that would, it's existing, it wouldn't have an extreme impact on the neighborhood, but now we're talking about expanding non-conforming use, which is generally something we don't like to do in the zoning, planning and zoning codes.
So let's,
Just because the use is there, even if he sold the place.
Yeah, the use is there. We unfortunately don't, so
Yeah.
what the preferred method of doing this would be a zoning compliance review, which we would be able to identify the previous permits or approvals that were issued that created this 3 unit. We don't have those records, doesn't mean it wasn't, it may have been created illegally, or we just don't have those records. So we can't go that avenue. That would be my preferred way. So this is the mechanism that we have to go through. Because it is existing.
I don't think he's gonna, if that's right, I like to talk about people as if they're not here. I don't think if you were to sell this tomorrow, the person who bought this would not be grandfathered in to have 3 units, just like you're not, you didn't know it, but you were.
Right.
It's part of it. You're not coming in for 3, you're looking for 4, because you already have 3, you thought that was okay. You're looking for 1 more, in reality, you're looking for double, as you're allowed.
so let's just have, typically we would go through this checklist similar to like what we did this evening. But again, given the more critical lens that we need to take with the use variance rather than area variance, let's just have a casual conversation amongst the board right now. So the first threshold is whether the applicant could realize a reasonable return on their investment, provided that lack of return is substantial as demonstrated by competent financial evidence. How does the board feel about that?
I think the documents in front of us illustrate that economic action is on the razor's edge. And it's not really applied, you're essentially innocent at that point. You're not making anybody, you have no buffer for anything whatsoever.
You wouldn't be able to take care of the tenants.
I think it's right on the edge. Or it's,
Well, no, but
in my mind, I would never buy it, would buy getting $100 a month.
Are you talking about as a per unit? And so it is not the board's responsibility to maximize the applicant's profit, nor is it your responsibility to create a sound business investment that is.
Understood.
So just,
But your question was
Yeah.
pertaining to that.
that's, yeah, no, that is,
That
Right,
is
right,
the
right.
question. It's whether the applicant can realize a reasonable return on their investment.
Give it
If
to
they
them.
can't,
given what
No,
they
he's
have-
asking, yeah, can they do that with two?
And the
Yeah,
answer is no.
or any other use that's allowed, which I think is probably all residential there.
Yeah, so the two.
So given two, I would say,
But-
100%.
In order to grant a use variance, there has to be documentation in the record that there's a lack of return and that it's a substantial lack of return for the uses that are permitted.
So, right.
Currently, in the application, there's only statements of what the operating costs are, and then it says, according to New York State rent limit worksheet, see attached, and that's just an example, I think, right?
And I'd say the applicant is entitled to doing the meter program. They're-
Oh, they can use it
exploring-
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, they're exploring the
Yeah, yeah.
meter program.
Right, so under the program's guidelines, it would not be feasible based on a 2-unit of you being in a net deficit of $600 a month. Under the condition of what you're zoned for today and what is approved by that program. To your point, you're 100% right, that is an option to go that route. You could say, yeah, stick with 2 units, I'm gonna rent them this any way I want, I mean, legally separating units, et cetera, but I can put whatever sticker price I want on it. That is a legitimate, and I can't answer the question as to what is the current rate of what is rental in Glens Falls for 1-bedroom building. Those are 1-bedroom apartments, right? That would be-
2 are 1 bedroom and the other one is a 2 bedroom.
Okay. I don't know what the rate is.
So 2 is a 1 and 1 is a 2. Correct.
Yeah.
But that's not, yes, but that's not even actually permitted right now. We're looking at it.
Well, yeah, there's lots of, in my mind, I think there's lots of unpack in this question in and of itself. How long have you owned the property?
To January 1st.
Sharon, what was the purchase price of this property?
156.
And were all 3 units being rented?
They were empty. The people had basically stopped paying the mortgage and dispersed.
Okay. And, I don't know if this next question is for you or for the attorney, but if we're to deny this request, would he have to revert the property to a 2-unit from the existing 3-unit?
If he's granted no variances,
If he is denied this request,
yeah.
he would be forced to incur the cost,
We would have to undertake enforcement action.
which would be to
Likely,
go for
now
3
that
to 2.
we know about this, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can we grant the approval of a 3?
Well, he's
Because
asking,
he's applying for 4.
well, I'm not sure, did he
Let's
ask for?
stick to the,
Why smart? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
yes. That would bring the property into compliance
Compliance how?
because it will now have a use variance on the property. So
Not
we
a use
have-
variance, well.
Well,
it
he's still
would-
getting the use variance.
Yes,
Or
regardless of use variance.
this,
Right,
the
right,
question
so-
is specific to a use variance right now as a 3-unit.
Right, so
Yes.
either way, if he goes to 3, which he has today, and has been going up and has existed for a long time, that's a use variance. If he has a use variance to 4, it's still a use variance. So they're not changing fundamentally our approval, we're just changing it from 3 to 4. But it's still a use variance.
I would also say though, that the code
Right,
does say that the board is required to grant the minimum variance that it shall deem necessary and adequate to address the unnecessary hardship proven by the applicant.
When it says proven by the applicant, in what way proven by the?
It's the applicant's burden to prove that they have the hardship and that they cannot make the, substantial, reasonable return on their investment. Or that there's a lack of substantial return.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all it's their burden, it's the applicant's burden.
There's,
And it's
Alice,
our responsibility to grant the minimum, that gives them something to overcome their hardship that they proved.
so I would argue without trying to make a business plan for this individual, to what you're alluding to, which I understand. I would also say there's a little bit of layering with that, with us saying, well, what is the business plan? What does he have, what does he prove for, et cetera. There's a little bit of that mind game going on. And I would argue that he has, I think, proven in his record that 3 doesn't quite neat. Now, I would say if we're approving this, this is a sidebar to it, kind of conditional, I don't even like it, but it seems to me that we would be approving this to be used. It's not in our purview to do that. Say, hey, it's approved for 4 units under the guidelines of this program. We approve it for the use of 4, not under this program per se, but it's way under from a planning standpoint, from a density standpoint.
Yeah,
Way,
there's a
way,
lot of
way.
issues with that. So really the crux of this issue is this, Mr. Blackburn would like to utilize the neighbor program. He is unable to utilize it because this is a non-compliant structure. The minimum relief necessary to bring it into compliance and allow him to access the neighbor program is for this board to grant the variance to allow the 3-unit structure that currently exists there. So this, a lot of the time, in the past, this board has kind of factored in the cost of what would it take to bring it down to a 2-unit, and that would, oftentimes be financially unfeasible.
Sure.
Should also factor in the cost of creating a 4-unit. That, when you're looking at what's been provided to the board.
But from your side, you're not really noting this as package. It is getting a little bit in like business model analysis, or like banker hack out of the zoning board.
We asked for pro forma, this,
No.
area variance specifically asked for a pro forma, which is hard to.
No, what I was gonna get to is the 75K per, that you get.
Right.
That's a little different.
Sure.
Pro forma is more like how much am I getting for rent? The other one's more like, here you go. You're just giving it. That's
On
substantial.
the stipulation of what you charge for rent.
Say again.
So the program is under stipulation that if you receive money, then you can only.
You're under the obligation to rent under their,
Under their-
limits.
Under the, yeah,
Yeah.
it's whatever the percentages of the area.
So I guess, right. So when, if I'm trying to hear and talk out these options, if you will, okay? Option 1, you say no, you got to convert to 2. We would have to then cross-reference and say, what are the costs to a cure, required to a cure, to change that back to a 2, which absolutely would be very substantial. Option B would be, if we grant it to, we accept it to be a 3, which it is non-conforming today, would be conforming, we accept that use variance. Is that, and then we analyze it for, is that an acceptable rate of return? Option 3, C, whatever you say, is, would 4 units be acceptable as that? And that's it. That is an additional change of use variance. Correct, yes, yes. That's how I see it. Does everyone agree with those as options, or what are there other options that I'm not hearing, seeing, thinking right now?
Question along this line. So you bought the property unrelated to any particular property, is that correct?
I'm sorry.
You bought the property yourself before you were in any kind of program. The funds that you purchased the property with are not from some programs.
No, the funds that I purchased it are not.
Yeah, okay, so now you have a choice to go for this program or a choice to go through commercial financing to fix it up as it was, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now this program that you're getting into, it would provide money for rehabilitation, when I understand it. And 75,000 per unit, is that what it is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then how long, after you entered this program, how long would you be obligated to participate in the program, given the money that you received?
I believe 10 years.
And do you know if you can pay, get out of it early, or you got to stay with it for 10 years?
I believe stay with it for 10 years. I don't know.
As far as you know, you have to stay with it.
Right.
Okay. So you really, the program that you'd like to participate in is one of these 2 paths. The other one would be a private way to go about where you
If I have to, yeah, I have
manage the
to.
properties, whichever way you do, whichever you do, and then charge whatever rent you would like at that time. Is that right? So your business model for the private way of going is not present.
No, I haven't even considered that, yeah.
You don't want to,
No, I don't,
Okay.
but the plan makes sense to go through the rental program.
Okay,
3 months.
Yeah.
I'd like to, that's, if you brought up a great question, I'd like to come on just a little bit. When you purchased the property, was this purchase made in mind, with this program in mind, or?
Yes, it had been, so I had a contract with the property in June or July of last year. And it being, a bank sale and taking up until January. And I talked to, Jeff back then. And then by the time I closed on the property and we connected with them again, that they had ran out of funds and were waiting for more. So, then in the process of waiting for that, when I got the email that they had received more, it was then also that I had to come here because the property was not conforming, which I didn't know at the time.
So you made an investment in this property, motivated in part with this program in
Yes.
mind, also not realizing that it was existing non-conforming use,
Correct.
which, based on the factuals and all the information, the real estate transaction wasn't able to be caught by anybody involved. Is that accurate?
No one caught it, the lawyers didn't catch it, I didn't see it, the real estate agent didn't see it.
So you did make this investment with this program?
Correct.
So,
But your initial investment was $28.
and again, one of the 4 criteria is that this was self-created. And that's we're just looking at existing building that was purchased with the intent to enter into this program. This is not self-created.
I don't believe it is.
How's it, that's not weird.
So the asking for 4 units is certainly self-created.
Certainly, but if we don't,
I-
certainly, but he has a 3-unit, and if we don't give a use variance, then we're asking him to go back to 2. So that is not self-created.
Agreed.
Didn't do his due diligence, for sure.
No, the real estate, all the attorneys involved in that real estate transaction, nor the city,
I agree.
did their due diligence in that case, because he was also led to purchasing this property with this program in mind. So, we want to really expand on it. A lot of different sets of eyes are on this. Don't be quiet. So it's full, it's full, because there are so many checks and balances here that say, yep, go. But because we're doing our due diligence, doing a great job with this is why we're here. Cherry Street, everybody generally familiar with Cherry Street, the neighborhood, surrounding neighborhood. Do we feel that this variance would alter the essential character of the neighborhood?
The variance to be at 3 or to be 4?
Again, I'm working on the premise that we need to grant a use variance based on 3 units. Have a discussion later around 4 units if you want, but if we say no to a use variance, then the city is going to enforce that
To go to
and revert to a 2. So, again, this structure as is a 3-unit structure. And let's consider maybe if he does ultimately go forward with a 4-unit, comes to the board, pending site plan review, I think that would certainly be appropriate if we're going to expand on it. Would that change the nature of the neighborhood, the character of the neighborhood? Because as he verbally stated, if he were to go forward with a 4, you'd be doing it entirely within, you wouldn't be altering the footprint going up or out.
I thought your intent is not to change the footprint of the building from 4.
No, we would change the
Right.
But to your point,
But as a 3, sorry, do we feel that this has negatively altered the essential character of the neighborhood?
no, it is.
Why did that still be from the neighborhood?
Excuse me?
Sir, we will open it up to public comment, and you will absolutely, and we will welcome your comments.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Isn't the entire application based on competent financial evidence? And
There,
there's 0 in the application. I'm
well,
not,
there's 4 criteria,
Yeah.
actually. That's one.
yeah,
There are 3 others.
but what is competent financial evidence? That's my concern. Because there's just a statement saying it's $2,800 of the budget. There's 0 financial evidence in the application.
That was my first question. I said
Yeah,
that.
but that's the first analysis, is competent
And-
financial evidence. Yeah.
And how we're reviewing that in relation to the feasibility of it, in relation to
Yeah.
3, and I
Yeah.
hear you.
I'm just
No,
saying,
no,
there's
it's-
no evidence. in
It's
the
absolutely noteworthy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But we still need to go through the rest of them.
Yeah.
Go through due diligence here, ask a question, have a conversation. So, does anybody else have any
Yeah,
strong
also-
feelings about the character of the neighborhood?
No, as far, I mean, my position is that he thought it, the lawyers thought it, everybody thought it was a 3. So I don't think a 3 changes the inherent character of the location, because that's what it has been, and always has been. So that's how I see it.
Steve, Paul? No.
At 3, we're talking 3.
Yeah.
We're talking 3.
Yes, but fundamentally it's for a use variance. To move forward in that direction, we go through it.
Let's see the conversation.
Yep.
Talking 3.
Tom, do you have any comment, strong feeling one way or another about essential character?
Yeah, it's not, I had no comment about the character, because it's already a 3 unit. He bought it as a 3 unit. I'm assuming it was advertised as a 3 unit. We don't have that.
It's actually, you do have a copy of the listing, I believe, and there is a 4-unit right next door.
There's a
The Habitat for Humanity building on the corner is a 4, and then there are other ones like a 6. It's.
Right, the general character of that neighborhood, that section of the neighborhood, Walnut Street and Church Street.
Yeah.
Just-
I don't think we have the listing.
I was gonna say for the record, for our records, I don't think we have the listing or any other financial
think so either.
documentation about costs.
We only have the county sheet from ImageMate.
I will note that the Habitat for Humanity, building that is listed is in a different substation. It is next door, but it's in a general.
GC.
Okay, no, that's important to know.
It
Absolutely.
is,
We didn't get the list of compact.
but R2, well, how the GC is being used in that instance is an R2.
I only have
Just
one,
saying.
but that.
No,
Well, maybe it is,
I don't know how it's
use
not
for
there.
occupancy, but it's fundamentally used as an R2.
But I think it's all important to know, make note of for the discussion here.
And there was a copy of the tax rolls too, showed that it was
Yeah.
being taxed, you have now.
All right, so working our way up the list here, the alleged hardship here to the property in question is unique. It does not apply to any substantial portion of the district or neighborhood. How do we feel about that, board?
Hardship is unique. Yeah, I mean, yes, in that, I think, well, based on his surrounding area, being essentially R2, which is an R2, and even GC1, which is being used as an R2, I think that is the neighborhood, or the adjacent area. Just zoom out, not necessary.
Right.
But I
So
see.
that uniqueness question is supposed to rationalize why the property cannot be used for its permitted use. Is there something unique on the property that's preventing it from being used as an RT?
No. There's nothing inherent about your unit that prevents it from being used as an R2. That's,
Not
if that's the verbiage of the analysis, I would agree that, in my,
Perhaps it's the uniqueness that is purchased as an RT.
right, and that.
Three-unit structure.
But that's different than inherently the unit isn't limited to. But if you add the perception and how it was sold, et cetera, to the understanding, then I would agree.
I would agree with that as well. Taking the full scope of it, if we took the property in and of itself, you know, box and put the contents of how we arrived here tonight.
Yes, do we have evidence that it was listed with the county as the, all that?
Yeah,
The tax map, or tax parcel information does have a tiny little note that says it's a 3-unit. He has the real estate listing, but I would say that's not been provided to us unless you have it in your file, and we just didn't get paper copies tonight. The listing mentions 3 units, so you know, that's something for us to go off of as far as like the nature of the non-conforming use.
Absolutely.
Pre-existing non-conforming use. We don't know how far back that goes, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that-
Alice made that point.
Okay.
We can't find any documentation as to when or if that 3-unit was granted and such.
Do we know when it was sold prior to that? Prior to your purchase?
I don't know how it's so bad.
Okay. If you have it, you could summon it.
But
Well, it
you're-
doesn't even mean it was used then, the land was used.
Even though you're in the city program, the structure itself already has the 3 units?
Yes.
Or do you still need to create?
No, it
some-
has 3 units.
Okay.
Right now it has 3 units.
It was last sold in 2009.
As a 3?
Doesn't say it was a 3.
Gotcha. Do you have any comment on whether you feel this is unique or not unique? Paraphrase.
I don't think it's unique.
Okay.
I don't like the version.
I'll
very
I'll read it again.
It's very
Straight
confusing.
from-
It's
Straight from the code, straight from the code, and we have great resources here to
Yeah.
clarify. We need to evaluate that the alleged hardship relating to the property in question is unique. It does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or neighborhood. So my interpretation of this is that there are not a lot of pre-existing, non-conforming 3 or 4 unit homes into our district. Is that fair? Is that accurate?
Well, it sounds like you said.
There's one.
Huh?
There's one, yeah.
yeah, this is a situation where we need to review our tax map, or our zoning map, because there are, we're seeing
So many.
almost every day.
Okay.
Are they existing conforming or existing non-conforming?
They're existing non-conforming.
Okay, so you're surrounded by people in the same boat as you.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Except for.
Then it is
No.
not unique. Pretty close to that by definition.
Okay. Did you have a comment, Paul? Or a question?
Well, I had a question, and I'll just say what was going through my mind.
Absolutely.
It's in the sense that property is listed in the county records at the 3, and apparently a real estate listing that shows it listed as 3. In the sense that it actually only is allowed to be 2, it does seem to present a unique attribute of the property that makes it unusual as a 2. But that's where I was trying to.
Well, it's an interpretation that is certainly worthy for us to consider. I mean,
And you would never have known in buying it, or it was listed and you bought it, that you would have been required to convert it to a 2.
No, I didn't expect that at all.
Well, if he had come to the city to confirm with a zoning compliance request, we would have theoretically picked it up and told him that's not a 3-unit, that's not approved for 3 units.
Yeah, well,
It was just how I found out because
So, I mean,
applied.
under due diligence, but your debate about the unique hardship is totally valid. I think you're having a great discussion on these criteria.
It's really more like an analysis of what's unique.
This is a tough situation.
so here's my thought here. We worked through each of these 4, and we started off with the financial aspect of it. The finances leave a bit to be desired from us as far as there's unknowns. And Another question that we, put out here related to the financials of this was, because we're trying to just really cover a lot of ground here, is that what if you had to go to a 2-unit? And does the property still qualify for that program?
You can utilize that program if you want.
And would that impact the rate of return, et cetera? We already looked at, again, it's just a stepping off point. We don't expect you to have an answer right now because we can go through the 2, 3, and 4. We already looked at the 3 and we realized, if you have fully rented and you're bringing in $100 a month and the water meter goes, you don't have enough to cover that. So, that's coming out of pocket. And it would take a few years to recover just the water meter alone. That being said, we don't have in our packets the listing that shows, hey, listen, these things happen. I know you know it, and I mean, it's easy to find it and provide it to us. So we have the financials, we would like to see the tax listing accompanied with the list, the tax parcel information list and the listing. I think it would be beneficial if we're trying to make a really well-rounded decision here, if we have an understanding of what that 4-unit looks like, if we were to proceed down that road. So I think that site plan review would be a benefit in the totality of this.
Including parking,
Parking is a big one here. Yeah.
impervious land, parking.
So planning board won't make a decision without zoning board decision on that. It requires research.
I think what the chairman is just asking for is like a conceptual, how 4 units might be laid out inside that structure, because it's not that way now. If you still want to pursue 4 units, and then also, how would you lay out parking on the site? This does not need to be construction level detail.
So maybe site plan is too strong for this current body, but certainly conceptual, right? Hey, this is the plan here. This is what it's going to look like. And then we can really understand what we're discussing here better.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be in everyone's best interest to table this and repackage your application to provide more information, A, to defend what you're proposing from a financial standpoint, to show how you're arriving at these figures, and to show the layouts, to show the existing, how it is today as a 3, to show it as a 4 if you wanted to go that way, and to show parking and where you have that. Associated with parking is pretty much almost always impervious land. So we want to see that.
It's on paper.
All right, well, so you want to show that?
Yeah.
So we're looking at it in totality.
Yeah, so I think we had a lot of great discussion here tonight. Gave you a lot to work with, to come back with. So before I make a motion here, I do want to give the public the opportunity to lend any comments. On that note, I do have, I see the gentleman in the back there already made note he'd like to speak on it. We did receive an email on May 14th from Mr. John Thompson, 37 Cherry Street. It's a brief email, so I'll just read it into the record here. Dear Glens Falls Planning and Zoning Board, I am writing to you as a resident of 37 Cherry Street, Glens Falls, New York. I have concerns about increasing the capacity of units at 35 Cherry Street to 4 units. Unfortunately, I will be unable to attend the meeting on Monday, May 18th on this matter due to prior commitment. My main concern would be adequate parking for an additional unit since our driveways share a border. Will the units all be single bedrooms? Will the owner of the building also be a resident landlord? The home is only 2,000 square feet, which would only allow approximately 500 square feet per unit. Or does the owner plan on converting the existing outbuilding to a 4th unit? On a final note, will this lead to more landlords in the neighborhood wanting to add more units to their buildings? I look forward to hearing from you regarding this matter. Best regards, John Thompson, 37 Cherry Street, Glens Falls, New York. Thanks, sir. Anyone from the public?
I'm sure.
I'm also speaking for my neighbor at 3 North Pearl, Consuela Davis. While we would accept 3 units, the idea of expanding it to 4 is kind of like they're already in violation. Oh, let's let them be even more in violation to the local zoning law. I think this is a bad way to open it. To open this up, well, oh, you're not making money. I was listening to you talking about financials. Oh, you made it, and this is, no offense to you, Mr. Blackburn. Someone made a bad investment. We have to modify things so that they don't lose money. That's just sitting in the audience and listening. No offense, that's the tone I got. And it's probably not intended that way. While I've spoken to Consuela, and it'll continue to the existing 3 units, we wouldn't have a problem. The idea that we're opening the door to this, that anybody who wants to do this, okay, I'm not making money off my rental property, I'll have to go to the city and have them make it by shoving more people in there who I can get rent from. That's our major concerns, Consuela and mine. I just wanted to be able to speak on it. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because you're speaking that you're okay with 3, not 4. I just want to know what your reservation on 4 is.
I'm accepting of 4. I'm not really okay with it, but I do understand that Mr. Blackburn has made considerable investment, and it had, as it having been 3 units without too many major problems over the last 28 years I've been here, we're okay with the status quo. The idea of shoving more and more people into the same space.
Footprint.
The footprint is so small, you're not making it any bigger. They really can, again, as it's zoned now, without a variance from you folks. Obviously, that would definitely change the tenor of the neighborhood.
If it was a 4.
If it was a 4.
How so?
More people. Anytime, and the zoning, as I understand it, was for a residential neighborhood with 2-family homes with 1 family. I was worried that we were going to have a floodgate in the area of everybody going, oh, look, I put more apartments. Which obviously would change the tenor of the neighborhood.
Okay, since you've lived in the area for 28 years, in your time of 28 years, has that pretty much always been a 3 unit?
All I really know, I walk here, I'm retired now, I do a lot of walking, is before Mr. Blackburn owned it, there was usually someone standing around outside. And with the problems the East End has had with drug sales, etc., and that they had at the end of North Pearl, I'm kind of aware of what that looks like. Having lived next to the North Pearl problem for 24 years before I finally was resolved. We had foot traffic going in and out, people cutting through my yard. And you can ask the police department about the house at the end of North Pearl there before Ashcroft bought it and refurbished it. It was a major problem. It's obviously something, it's not something that's in Mr. Blackbird's power to control. He can vet his clients as well as he can, but when something like that happens, it tends to take a long time to get set right. The house at the end of North Pearl was a drug house when I moved in 1998. It continued to be a drug house right through to the early 2020s. So once something like that starts, it's all marketing.
Would you say that the use of the R2 homes, which are is being used as 3-family units somewhat regularly in your area?
Not that I know.
No. Oh, so this is an oddity.
Yes, well, I was notified by the city and it just, and this is, I think it's Mr. Blackbird, it's a case of, okay, there's a problem here, there's one too many units. We'll fix it by putting another unit in there, and, you know, waving the hand and saying, oh, it's all okay. And people move into, you know, our two neighborhoods because that's what they are. And it tends to have fewer problems, at least in my experience. Okay, thank you. I have an 8:30 appointment in Morale, and I'm probably going to, I have an 8:30 appointment in Morale, so I have to be home.
All right, well, I appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none, I would like to make a motion to table this request until a later date. Do I have a second?
Just,
I have a second.
I'll note that we're gonna leave the public comment period open, public hearing, since
Absolutely.
we're
Oh.
tabling.
Yes, absolutely. Public comment.
Are his records on, are his comments on record continuum, so they're part of the package?
Yep,
Great. No offense, but you shouldn't have to come twice.
yeah, no, he won't, yeah.
Do you want to name specifically what you want from him or no? You don't have to. So it sounds like we need additional evidence of financial, lack of, or additional financial evidence. So this can be a bill of sale for the property, present value of the property, expenses for maintenance, leases, rentals, agreements, tax bills, conversion costs, which seems the most appropriate at this point since there are no renters, or a realtor's statement of the inability to rent or sell the property as it is. Not put this in a
And
letter.
backup of operating costs. How you arrived at that to the street.
Got a copy of the listing,
Yep.
some details on the transaction that speaks to it being a 3-unit. When you know when you purchased it, again, just so we all have it. And maybe short of a site plan, a conceptual plan of what you're looking to do and what that actually looks like, so we can really understand it.
I'll note that this will also, through our discussion, have to also receive a variance for lot coverage and density relief.
Okay.
I don't know if we should do that maybe concurrently or after the experience.
Say we tackle the use variance.
I mean, if you're gonna go for
separate.
Oh,
Those are area variances.
it is.
Should the applicant, should Mr. Clark have to come back and inspect a third time
I mean,
for something that's?
Would they be contingent on a use variance being granted or not? I would just hate to have
No,
that.
with the amount of relief being contingent upon which use variance to apply.
I mean,
Right.
So.
No, but yeah, just a clarification question.
I guess.
So so density relief, I believe could be either way, but with 3 units, it would be less of a relief than if there were 4 units.
Correct. Okay, very, very
Parking
important.
requirements, which will also push the amount of impervious land from parking spots, constitutes.
I would have them start that process, whether or not we, and probably bring it to the board at the next meeting.
Why not?
Yeah,
I mean,
we know he's gonna need it one way or another.
if you're gonna proceed, why not show, we're talking about, so this is a use change?
Right.
We're also saying that you should show area variance that you may need, which is how much coverage on the land you're gonna
Area
have.
variance for what?
Well, that's what I'm just saying.
I don't understand what's, I'm not changing the property.
I think it,
So you would show that you bought it as an existing non-conforming, and you would illustrate,
Allison will be able to walk you through exactly what this is referring to.
but if you're gonna go.
So you both can tackle it offline.
Quick point, at this point, we don't know for the 4-unit option, we don't know if it's feasible to use the same footprint.
That's exactly why we're asking for an exceptional plan.
Okay, yeah, so that's it.
So absolutely want to show the 3-unit layout, existing. That's a bit of.
I made a motion to table and it was seconded, so I do believe that is actually supposed to stop all discussion at that point once the second is made. Am I face there?
It's okay, we're not that strict about pushing the table and cutting off discussion.
Right. But that is technically the rule. So, all in favor of
Conversation during that. You can have Robert's rules. Oh, you can. Trust me, I do it with my board all the time.
make a motion to table? We have a second with Anton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to table carries.
Thank
Thank you for answering all of our questions in a respectful manner. We look forward to your next visit with us. Is there anybody from the public who wish to bring anything to the board? Okay. See, gentlemen, make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, motion